Hi, this is Len McDougall. I'm coming at you with another unscripted, unedited edification video. Hopefully, anyway. And this time I'm going to show you how to start a fire in what is obviously a pouring rain. Now, in weather like this, there's no fooling around. Okay? It is about 50 degrees right now, not too bad. You either make a fire in this rain when you're out in it, or you die. That's all there is to it. And if the temperature drops any lower, I've been out in freezing rain where everything was covered with ice. And there's really no other option. You either start a fire or you're going to die. At least out here. And what you see in the background is the beginning of 1,020,000 acres of Lake Superior State Forest. This is actually my front yard, but my front yard borders, well, three sides of my yard borders on 1,020,000 acres of Lake Superior State Forest. Today, we're not going to fool around. We're going to use the fire wick, because I'm not going to teach you how to survive like a mountain man. I'm going to teach you how to stay alive, period. This is practical outdoor survival, just like my books have been named. 2 editions of practical outdoor survival. That's no fooling around, no kidding, survival. When you don't have time to play around with a bow and drill, where a failure means you die. Going to use a butane lighter and a fire wick, which you've seen me mention in other videos and magazine articles. I've been writing about this damn thing for 20 years. Closer to 30. Okay. This is a lesson right here. The butane lighter is wet. See, this fire wick is wet. That's why it's flaring like this. But it will light. You can't get it too wet to burn. This thing will burn no matter what. Now, you should lay a platform. Doesn't have to be big. Just has to be enough to keep the fire off the ground. Because the ground is wetter than anything you can put underneath it. Okay? Now that fire wick is flaming. Now here's where the classic teepee comes in. Because what you're doing, in effect, is building an umbrella over the fledgling fire. You're building an umbrella, and it doesn't have to be a perfect teepee. What it does have to do is form a shield over the fire. I'm going to stick this end right in the ground since it doesn't want to cooperate. Now the wood, this is red pine wood, which is normally very flammable, but it's wet because it's been rained on for an hour. These twigs, you cannot start a fire with too small a branches. Start them with tiny, tiny branches. As small as you can. Now this wood is going to have a tendency to burn in half before it flames up. So what you've got to do, because it won't burn when it's wet, you have to dry it as you're burning. You have to cause it to dry. And see, we're building a small shelter over the fire. You've got to get it self-sufficient, flaming on its own before the firework burns out. You got about 5 minutes with this. And of course, in real life, you would add more and more fire wicks, whatever it takes to do it. But the main thing is start with as small wood as possible. Teeny tiny twigs. That's the trick. because small things burn easier than big things. That's a fact. I just knocked my fire for a loop here. Okay. I've got a pretty good protection over that. That should be enough to cause this to be self-sufficient in no time. You've seen a lot of videos where people show you in a state park that they can start a fire in dry weather with dry tinder, dry kindling. But you don't see a hell of a lot of people starting a fire in the wet, in the rain. Okay, that should still take off. I think I've got a pretty good flame going, and I'm drying the wood as I burn. And as you can hear, it's raining right now. It's raining pretty hard, actually. But I've got enough of a shelter over top of my fire that it's protected from the raindrops as it dries the wood underneath it. Yeah, this is not going to be a problem. I wanted to show you this because it is possible to start a fire in the rain. It's a little tougher, and I wouldn't take any chances because wet weather will kill you. I would rather deal with the blizzard because freezing weather and snow, if it's snowing and it's not melting, it's dry. The wood is dry. There may be some moisture frozen into it, but the wood is for all intents and purposes dry. And as you can see, we have a fire. Okay? As you've seen with your own eyes, I've started a fire in the rain. Incidentally, let's try something. This birch bark has been in the rain for the last hour. Let's see if it'll light. Okay? Doesn't look like it's lighting very well. Okay, we'll keep it in steady flame. This is already more than you could produce with a match. It won't burn. You know why? Because it doesn't take a lot of common sense to understand that water won't burn. H2O. It won't burn. You see that? It won't burn. Now, the time to find this out, you can do some experiments with birch bark in a bucket in your garage, and it may work out. And all those other cool little tricks that you see on YouTube. But I'm telling you that when you really need it in the pouring rain like I'm in right now, it's not going to burn for you. Okay? Don't rely on this because it won't burn. Don't rely on birch bark. Use something like the fire wick, like I just showed you. Ah, there we go. You know why? Because we dried it out. Okay? You see how much flame it took to get this to burn? We have dried it out in the flame, driven the water out of it, and now it'll burn because it's dry. But don't count on it. This is not something you want to bet your life on in the rain. There we have it. We have a nice fire. All you have to do is add on to it using the same method I just showed you. The same method. Keep adding on larger and larger pieces in a teepee fashion until you get a good bed of coals. Once you get a bed of coals, it would take 5 gallons of water to put it up.